This is a video I wanted to do, primarily because of those views, but also because of my interest in late antiquity. I know I uploaded a Roblox shitpost to my channel, but I didn't want to cover topics. I wanted to cover topics that are historical and add all my discussions together. I'll also try to not make a video a collection of slideshow images easily found on Wikipedia, or have a lackluster sounding voice explaining why I ranked a particular emperor in that place.
Usurper at the worst possible time when the empire you're trying to rule over is facing severe problems, so long as, once you get
Personally, if there's a boring emperor, I can make them, or that part of the video, seem more attractive. Anyways, let me explain the history.
History!
The Roman Empire was started by Augustus, then numerous crises, and then it was intentionally broken in half by Theodosius I. I can make a video on the history of the Roman Empire at a similar time, but this is just a concise overview. Roman history is just way too expansive and exceptionally long. Now, let's talk about the emperors.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no.
Valentinian III was a tepid, inept, and weak ruler. He was placed in charge by Theodosius II and his fellow politicians into the purple after killing and humiliating Jovan. His reign is seen as atrocious to many. He killed Aetius, a man who tried his best, despite the threat of his fickle Federati allies, to save the empire from the Huns. Valentinian was more or less a puppet to schemers alike. His reign also saw the encroachment of barbarians, seizing key territories like Africa or parts of Spain. Africa was a significant breadbasket and the key Diocles of Rome, unlike Britain. He mainly died unceremoniously, and should be honored as such. Honorius was Valentinian III's uncle. That is all you need to know about him. But seriously, he did more or less the same things as his dynastic successor would do. He killed a general who managed to keep the empire afloat. Barbarians encroached and started taking heaps of territory. Usurpers sprang more and more commonly, Valentinian had less though, and provinces were taken from the Romans to Germanic tribes. He placed Constantius III in charge of the military and did not interfere like Castilica. He at least made Constantine III an emperor, which didn't help at all. At least he tried saving Britain in the most ineffectual way with his rescripts of 411, people who could arm themselves for defense. It is also contested that it's meant for South Italy instead of Britain, fortunately. Womp womp. Honestly, it sucked that his reign lasted around 30 years. Constantine III was a usurper from the hot mess of Britain at the time. He took all the remaining legions from Britain and proclaimed himself emperor at the worst of times. He aimed to secure Rome against the barbarians approaching Gaul or Hispania. However, he fought plenty of usurpers and a legitimate government instead. His reign oversaw the empire's grip on Britain gone, and more troops slaughtered by pointless wars against cutting generals vying for power. And then he got killed by Constantius III in the Civil War, and then died. A Roman senator killed Valentinian III by plotting with Aetius's troops, vied for emperor, married Valentinian's daughter for legitimacy, and then the Vandals sacked Rome, even worse than the Visigoths, tried fleeing, and then killed by a mob. That is all you need to know. Technically, the last Roman emperor was a child, a figurehead placed in charge by his father, Orestes, and subsequently ousted by Odoacer, a Germanic military leader who became the king of Italy, later exiled to Naples. Many successors may be considered the last vestiges of the Western Roman Empire, like Julius Nepos in Dalmatia, Zagarius in northern Gaul, Soissons, the Romano-Berber kingdom, and the Byzantine Empire. old, weak senator who Ricimer controlled for several years. Barbaric conquests of the Roman Empire ensued, and then his master poisoned him. That's how sad his reign was. A Gallo-Roman who became a Visigothic puppet for some time, faced a civil war by Majorian and Ricimer, and then became a bishop afterward and died mysteriously later on. But seriously though, he was just a puppet of Ricimer and then died of dropsy. This was an emperor proclaimed by a general who then faced a civil war started by Theodosius II with other Eastern Roman politicians to overthrow and replace him with Valentine III. He was captured, humiliated, and then died. Placed in charge of the empire by Canonabad, Glycerius diplomatically fended off both the Ostrogoths and Visigoths. However, Julius Nepos replaced him and toppled him with the support of the East. Nepos forced Glycerius to be a bishop and died. The last Roman emperor of the West. He made a somewhat successful campaign against the Visigoths and secured Arles. However, Orestes betrayed him. Julius Nepos fled to Dalmatia, where he held out for another 4 years until he died again in 480. Betrayed again! Again, I tell you! The patrician who was placed in charge of Ricimer, mainly under the threat of the Eastern Roman Empire. He made several campaigns against barbaric tribes that besetted the empire, but failed. However, he was an efficient diplomat to the Eastern Romans, but was killed by Ricimer. Constantius III is one of 2 efficient emperors on this list. He defeated several usurpers, including Constantine III, and shrewdly used Gothic reinforcements against usurpers and other barbaric tribes to his advantage. He even pacified the Visigoths by settling them in southern Gaul. He did what other emperors should have done for the last 40 years, he equalized the frontier and Rome itself. However, his achievements would be eclipsed by the ineptitude of his contemporaries, and then he died shortly after. The unfortunate hero. Majorian was a general who Ricimer replaced as emperor. After the civil war of Avitus, he became in charge of campaigns against the Visigoths, Suebi, and other barbarian tribes. He vanquished these tribes and successfully regained territories. However, when Majorian tried a campaign against the Vandals, Gyseric immediately responded by destroying the Roman navy. Defeated, Majorian traveled back to Rome and planned for more conquests. Ricimer was threatened by the prestige and he had his head afterwards. This was the final competent emperor who could stand against Rome's enemies. Now, I could make an in-depth video of all these characters, however, this is more or less a test video for more Roman and historical content. Plus, all of the reading and source findings I would like to do in the future is tiring. I would also like to show how easy it is to make your own list. I thank you, viewer, for watching and possibly subscribing. Oh yeah, I may do a Roman and Byzantine tier list, or whatever.